fast enough, and they were getting game shows ready to, because we had 90 minutes of network time that
It was
had
a 90-minute show.
Yeah.
Did you
10 to
deal with the
11:30.
affiliates?
I had to make a lot of calls, and in one case, the general manager of the NBC affiliate in Atlanta said, "Well, I'll carry it, but you have to agree to come down here and host the local Emmys." So I said, "Okay," and I can remember going down there, and this is after the show was canceled, and it was the station that carried wrestling, and it was like nonstop wrestling. And I don't know anything about that.
So you honored your obligation even after the show was canceled.
Yes.
You're down there with Dick the Bruiser doing a...
I had given my word, the same reason I'm here.
Yeah.
And so I walk out, and they've rented the ballroom space at the Hyatt or something, and I say, "Oh, it's a great pleasure to be here." And I think this is going to get a big laugh. And I say, "Yeah, I spent the day in my hotel room watching wrestling." And on their feet cheering, "Yes!" And I thought, "Oh, Lord, get me out of here." So, and then I quickly just became a piece of furniture. Nobody cared who I was. All they wanted was, a best Emmy for best report on school crossing guards, and that was the whole night. And I got the hell out.
What did they replace? I mean, what did you replace? Was it at that time? Was it game shows or was it?
Yeah, they brought back every game show that anybody had ready to go, and there were apparently plenty.
I've seen you on games. I've seen you host games.
I used to be on game shows. Yeah.
I saw you on Password once.
Password. I used to be a guest on Password.
You had one of the best clues I've ever heard.
Really?
It was for airplane. Mm-hmm. You said aerofoil.
Aerofoil?
You don't even know the word?
Well, I know the word airfoil.
Yeah, airfoil.
I don't know aereo. Maybe that's Canadian.
Yeah, aerofoil. Oh, yeah. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But
they didn't get it.
No, they said...
I used to like being on the... They said what?
Demosthenes.
I used to come in to New York and be on the $20,000 pyramid.
Oh, that must be fun.
It was fun, except in those days I was drinking, and I hated to be on the aerofoil.
Yeah.
So I would just be slam dunk hungover when they started taping 5 shows in a row.
Yeah.
And of course the contestants are people who, Jesus, I could use $25,000 or 20 or whatever it was. Yeah. And I would do pretty well in the beginning round, the boom, the bang, bang, bang. But then when I would get to the pyramid, I never got the big money.
Yeah.
And people would be so disappointed. And then I found out later, because some of the people who worked on the pyramid staff ended up working on our staff, because the morning show, the same producer worked on the pyramid and our show. So he brought some people over, and they told me that if they didn't like the celebrity guest, they would monkey with the pyramid to make it virtually impossible to win.
Wow.
Yeah. Like Demosthenes.
So then...
I never won the big money.
They didn't like it?
Apparently not.
Dick Clark was the host?
Dick Clark was the host, yes. Yeah.
And he would come up afterwards and say, "Don't look." And then he would say his own better clue. Right?
Did he?
Sure.
But the show that I did audition as the host for was something called Word Busters.
Word Busters.
And one of the guests was Joanne Worley. Mm-hmm. And so we had committed to do 2 pilots of the same show. So we're getting ready to go out to do the show, and she leans over and says to me, "Now that you're hosting a game show, you'll never be anything else." This is just before we're ready to walk out and start Word Busters.
Was that okay with you, though?
Oh, yeah, I was fine with that, Norm.
I don't know.
No.
This is why
Because in those days, who wants to be... Look at Pat Sajak. Don't you think there isn't a minute of his life that he doesn't want to kill himself? But yet, he's made a good living.
Well, he tried a talk show?
He did have a talk show. He had the talk show at CBS before mine. Yeah.
And he did 90 minutes after Carson thought that was too long.
Oh, yes, his was 90 minutes long.
That's
right.
90 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you think being a quiz master
Well, it's not why I left Indiana. I didn't.
But I don't understand why you left Indiana. How? I mean, what did you expect? There was only one talk show in the whole world.
Well, it was, and I'll bet the reason that I left Indiana is similar, not dissimilar, for the reasons that you left Canada.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh, I love Canada.
Oh, yeah?
You think it sucks?
Oh, yeah.
I like Toronto.
You do?
I like Montreal.
Yeah.
I like Vancouver. I like Alberta.
I saw you do stand-up there. You're drunk as a boiled owl.
Yeah. I didn't have much luck doing stand-up up there.
Yeah.
I can remember this was in Toronto, and a guy picked me up, and he said, "Yeah,
Ashley Hall.
the guy is, you see, he used to be a kind of just a rowdy ass bar, and now we bought that. And it used to be a whore, and we bought that whore, and by God, now we're gonna turn her into a lady, and by God, we're gonna teach that lady how to dance."
Whoa!
Yeah, this is on
You
the
let
right end. Yeah.
the metaphor
Yeah.
right a long way.
And I remember being on stage.
Put her in a nice, pretty dress.
Lipstick on her, new shoes, take her downtown. I'm up on stage doing my little dumb act, and obvious things you think would occur to people, but right there next to me, not more than 4 or 5 feet away, is a cigarette vending machine. So all night long, it was guys coming up, getting the Kent unfiltered, getting the Salems, and it just was, really? You're going to turn this whore into a lady. All right, but she still smokes.
So I still don't understand why you left Indiana.
And the guy reneged on the check. He paid me half up front, and I never got the second
Well, that's
half.
Canada, yeah. But why did you leave Indiana?
Because I had worked at a television station for 5 or 6 years, and I was getting tired of that. I mean, it was fun being on TV. And then I went to a radio station and worked there for a year, and that was right during Watergate. And people would call up and ask me questions about Watergate. I didn't know. I couldn't answer it. But I met Richard Nixon.
No, you didn't.
Yes, after he left office.
How does it come about that you meet Richard Nixon?
We had a guy who worked on our show, Frank Gannon, who had worked with Diane Sawyer as they were speechwriters for the Nixon administration. And Frank had maintained a nice relationship with the former president, and he was on the Today Show talking to Bryant Gumbel. And so he said to me, after we got done taping our show, he said, Bryant Gumbel is taping these interviews with Richard Nixon. Would you like to come up and meet him? And I said, yes, of course I would like to come up and meet him. Now, a friend of mine had been on our show named Jeff Altman. And Jeff Altman loved Richard Nixon, loved everything about him, loved what he looked like, loved what he sounded like. He was fascinated by Richard Nixon. So I said, hey, Jeff, let's go up and we'll meet Richard Nixon. And he said, oh my God, yes. So we go up there. Now it's Frank, myself, Jeff Altman. And we walk in, and there was a little green room waiting area. And Richard Nixon jumps to his feet. And my first impression was he was a taller man than I thought. He seemed to be about 6 feet tall. And I always envisioned him as sort of hunched over and such. But he was tall, and the other perhaps greater surprise was he was very charming. Oh, Frank. He was so happy to see Frank, and he patted Frank on the shoulder and this and that, and we introduced everybody around, and Jeff Altman, and he was talking about Angels baseball and about how much he loved Carney Lansford, and it was going quite well. And then Frank said to the former president, Mr. President, what are they talking to you about? He said, oh, it's the usual deep throat. It's not much of a Nixon.
Yeah.
They want to know who Deep Throat was. And so he's just kind of fumphering around about Deep Throat, but in a jocular fashion. Mm-hmm. And then after that sort of settled down, he looked at Frank right in the eyes and he said, it wasn't you, was it, Frank? And it was just, for my friend Jeff, for me, for everybody, it was delightful.
Because he was serious.
Yeah. Who knows if he was serious? I don't know.
Was it you? Was it Frank? You don't know Frank Gannon.
I know Jeff. I know Jeff.
It's so bizarre to think of Frank Gannon as deep.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back. We'll be back with more David Letterman momentarily.
Subscribe to Nom Burger King.